Today I want to share with you a really cool product. I immediately fell in love with this retro M4 Mac Mini dock when Wokyis, this company, reached out to me about sending me a free sample because they're about to launch their Kickstarter campaign. I haven't said yes to something so fast simply because it looked so cool. And then on top of that, I've been using the Satechi dock, so I need a dock for my M4 Mac Mini, but this dock not only looks cool, but it has even more functionality than the Satechi one. Right away, one of the things I loved about this was its aesthetic look. If you've been around a Macintosh in the past, or if you've seen one, and if you like retro vibes, this is going to be right down your alley. But what's cool about this is that it actually has a display. So you can use this as like an extended display. Let's talk about connectivity, and this has a lot of connectivity options. At the front, you've got two USB-A ports, an SD card slot, a micro SD card slot, and here's the funny thing about the SD card slot. It kind of reminds me of when I used to put a floppy into a computer back in the days because they used to stick out. And since this has that retro look to it, every time I put the SD card into this, it just takes me back to those days of using floppy drives. You've also got a USB-C port at the front, and then at the back you've got two USB-A ports, an HDMI port. You've got your host USB-C port, which is going to be the port that you're going to connect to your Mac Mini, and then you've got a spare USB-C power port, and then a headphone jack. And right above all this, continued in that retro styling, you actually have a slot for your SSD. Now, the one that they sent me is limited to 10 gigabits per second, but they have a secondary M5 model, which is also going to be available, and that is going to be able to do Thunderbolt 5, so up to 80 gigabits per second. So that is really awesome for people really looking for a fast SSD option within the dock that they want to use for their Mac Mini. One reason I don't use my SSD inside of the Satechi dock is because it's not fast enough. So eventually, when they do launch it, I want to buy for myself that M5 one, which goes up to Thunderbolt 5, but also supports Thunderbolt 4, 3, etc. So I can take advantage of my faster SSD. Temporarily, I took out my SSD from my Zyke enclosure, which I've showed, and that's what I use right now with my Mac Mini and also my MacBook Air. So I put the SSD in there and it runs fine, but it is limited to that slower speed. And so I'm not going to keep my SSD in there permanently, but just having that capability in this retro looking box is just really awesome. Now, one cool element of this dock is the fact that you do have a display. It's a 5-inch one, and when connected to your Mac Mini, this is going to show up as an extended display. So you can either have it mirror your display or use it as an extended one. But I'm doing something fun here. I'm just using it as basically a photo frame. I found a bunch of retro wallpapers and I put a couple of them on here and I assigned them to them. So that way when like I'm at the desk and I'm using the Mac Mini, here off to the side, I just see these retro wallpapers in this little Macintosh cube, and it's just something cool to look at. Now, lastly, I want to finish off with a couple things I've really liked about this. First of all is a micro SD card. So my audio recorder, which is off to this side here, takes a micro SD, but because of the Satechi dock that I was using before, it only has an SD card slot, right? So I was always just putting it into the adapter and then inserting it into the Satechi dock. So that is now a thing of the past for me because I can literally just take the micro SD card, insert that separately, and then also insert my SD card from my camera into the front of it. And then I also like the fact that they give you two USB-A ports on the front and two USB-A ports on the back. This is nice because you can have things neatly like connected to the back. Like one thing I don't like about the Satechi, I was actually talking about this in the comments with another viewer, that having it on the front, the only downside is that when I have my printer connected, I just have this like one yellow gold type of cable just at the front. Now what's nice is that I just have it connected at the back and it just looks really clean. As excited as I was for this product, I still had to put my YouTube hat on and go into this thinking that, okay, maybe something's gonna fail, something's gonna go wrong, but nope, no problems here whatsoever. Not only do you get a retro looking product, but you also get tons of functionality when it comes to all the connectivity that this offers. And another thing is that it's the same price as a Satechi, but it gives you so much more value. They could have easily gone out and been like, you know what, because this is retro looking and all that, we can price this higher, but they didn't do that. So that is really awesome. I will have all the links for you down below. So if you want to back these guys up on Kickstarter, please do, because I personally cannot wait for this to officially launch and then buy one for my dad. Because he too has a Mac Mini, and I know I sent him some photos already, and he's really excited about this as much as I am. Thank you so much for your time. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And like always, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.